Yo, it's the psychedelic psychonaut, the real skater boy of this shit, Christian Robinson, and you're listening to Uncorked with Kit.
Howdy everybody, it's Kit Osborne. You listen to Uncorked with Kit, and I don't know what episode it is. I don't know what number. I haven't really counted them, and I don't think I ever will. I probably will, but I'm not at the moment. I'm actually on my way home from Boston. I just got in. I'm still in my car, but I just wanted to. You would have thought I would have done this throughout the drive, but I didn't. I was with my cousin Patrick, who came with me, and I met up with one of my best friends growing up, and we went and saw Bill Burr at Fenway Park. Awesome. I couldn't have fucking asked for a better weekend with my cousin and one of my friends. It was a fucking blast. It ruled to no end. Perfect weather all the way up until I was driving home, in which the entire last 6 hours have just been raining and gloomy and dark out and just disgusting. But I'm home. I made it in one piece, and the deer didn't run into my fucking car. Piece of shit, motherfucker. Honestly, I could eat venison every day of my life, knowing that I'm just bringing that deer population down. I hate deer so much. So if there's ever anything you ever learn from this podcast, it's how much I fucking hate deer. Anyway, the show was amazing, and it's definitely a needed break from being in Pennsylvania and a weekend of no wrestling. And a weekend with people I don't normally see that often. So that was pretty. So there was, I can say that it was an A+ weekend. And honestly, it fits perfectly with who I interviewed today. This guy I became friends with when we were in a short film together called Roommates. And I made a lot of friends, doing this short film back in like 2014. Our table reads were absolutely hilarious. But this guy has gone on to do a lot more. He's a little bit of a YouTube sensation with Hack the Movies that you guys should certainly check out on YouTube. And you're going to learn a lot more about him, everything that he's done since then and where he is now. His name is Antonio Piluso, and we have a fucking great conversation. We talk about movies, and it's a little bit different than the wrestling shit that we always talk about. But everything, everything always wraps around, and then we talk about our fandom in wrestling, the difference of when I became a fan and then I became a pro wrestler. My interaction with fans and all these type of things that we get into, even all the way up until production, film production, doing podcasts, how to edit shit, how dumb I am, and then how much more I need to fucking learn. Especially when we had this conversation like almost a month ago, and how long it takes me because of how fucking lazy I am to post these, So anyway, this conversation I enjoyed. I hope you guys do too. And here everybody. Sorry, what the fuck are these people? Here everybody is my conversation with Hack the Movie Zone on YouTube, and one of my good friend that or a good acquaintance that I believe I would be really good friends with if I wasn't so fucking lazy and I left the house, and actually did things that would, instead of the same shit I do every single day in my life. But this is my conversation with Antonio Piluso.
Tony, my friend, how are you?
I'm doing
fucking 2014, man.
yes, it's been a very long time. When we were in that short film or pilot, did that ever come out? Whatever, we acted in something together.
Yeah, we acted in something. I think I had more fun. I auditioned and I just cut. I think her name was Rachel, just right off, or Amber off. I don't think it was Amber, but Amber just popped for it.
Yeah, your audition was pretty good.
And like, the whole every every time we're just practicing, we're doing all that, and I had more fun and laughed my ass off for like 4 hours, and like my part was like 30 seconds long.
I know. Yeah, that was a fun time. I would love to see that footage, but yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Oh man, and like it's fun. It's weird, like with that one short film. It's called Roommates.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I have to have Amber or Ron give it to me. I would love to just post that because what's funny about it now is when you hit me up on Instagram, like I don't look anything like how I did.
Yeah, it was like the name. I'm like, wait a minute, I think I know this guy. And then as soon as you said who you were, it like clicked. Like, oh, I know exactly who that is.
I think I tried to hit you up on something once just to catch up, say hi.
Well, I know
I was like, oh, I don't look.
Yeah, we've talked to each other a couple times over the years. Like, I had a couple ideas and they never came to fruition. But I remember hitting you up because I saw you in Botchamania at the beginning of a Botchamania episode a few years back. I'm like, oh shit, I know him.
Oh shit. Well, for my listeners here, Tony has Hacked the Movies on YouTube. I mean, so tell me about it, because I saw only like a couple of them. Yeah. Where it was this movie that bad, or and you have a video podcast with two others. I actually don't know their names though.
Well, I have a rotating line.
Okay.
Well, yeah. There's a few like more regular ones, but it actually rotates. It's actually funny. As you're saying this, I have my YouTube up, and apparently it's my YouTube channel's birthday.
Well, congratulations. I'm glad you're celebrating it here on Uncorked with Kit.
It's not the birthday of Hack the Movies, though, because Hack the Movies actually started in 2010, I think. And back then, I used to review movies in the parking lot with, like, my friends after we saw them. That was, like, the origin of it. And over the years, it's kind of evolved. I was doing reviews, and then after a while, I did like fake, and now I do real trailer reactions. But for a while, I was doing like fake trailer reactions. And then I went through a phase where I was different characters on my channel. But then I started working for Cinemassacre.
Yeah.
And I was on their show Rental Reviews, and we built a different set for it. And like a lot of the set, the fake video store set, was a lot of my tapes. Now it's a mix of like so many people have donated tapes to me. Now it's a mix. But most of the set was like my tapes and my grandfather's tapes and everything. So that show eventually ended in, I want to say, like late 2020. And we still had the set. And I was already filming stuff on the set. And I was like, you know what? Let me just keep this going.
I love that set. It definitely has that nostalgia vibe to it that I want to hear. It doesn't even matter if you make any sense at all, which I'm not saying you don't. I'm just saying it didn't matter if you were just spewing shit out of your mouth. It was just like, oh wow, man, this is like how I talk about shit in Blockbuster back in the day, But
that was like the basis for the original show, and then I kind of took that idea, and then I became the host, and I had more of a rotating lineup. Yeah. Not early on because we were limited with COVID for who could be at the office, but afterward, now I have like new people on all the time. So yeah, that's kind of like where Hack Movies came from. And because people missed the original show, they came to my channel, and that's when it like blew up finally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a really good base on there. I mean, with rental reviews, like I remember, I think you guys did Surf Ninjas. And that was the one I watched. I watched that whole thing, and it was really because it kind of blew my mind when I first saw you on James Rolfe's on Cinemassacre. For people to say, he's the angry video game nerd. And when I saw you on there, it's like it's like my favorite team one. Like I was like laying in bed, putting on like I'll binge watch his stuff like all the time.
Well, that's
mostly the angry video game nerd or his movie reviews that are just him being very genuine and trying to give it a chance.
You being happy to see me on the channel is the opposite of thousands of people who hate me.
Oh, don't get me wrong. And I was just like, I could fucking do that, man. Why does he just... I probably live closer to him. I heard he lives in Philly.
Well, the funny thing is, people didn't realize, like, no one, I mean, it's not their fault. They had no way of knowing. But, like, I had been working on the channel for, like, 2 years prior to that.
Okay.
I was an editor. And I appeared in, like, a few things here and there. And then before rental reviews, there were a couple, like, one-off reviews that we did together.
Yeah.
And then me and James did a couple videos together. And I'm actually in the Charlie's Angels ABGN episode. I'm the voice of Charlie. And I practiced that voice for like 3 weeks. And then the day we recorded it, I ended up sounding like Professor Oak in Pokemon.
I saw that video, and I think I've seen every Angry Video Game. I'm actually like one of those, when we were just talking about before we came on, like how, you know, the YouTube audience isn't like you can lose them, you know, at some point. And like with ABGN, like I made sure I've seen every single one, like even like games that I don't had any interest on, but which is most of them, I guess, the whole point of it. But
it's weird to know that like one of the most viewed things of me ever is me as Aladdin shitting in the top of a toilet in Angry Video Game Nerd. Like
dude,
that.
Pat yourself on the back for it.
There are so many people who always bring that up. Like, most people who hate me will bring that up. And I'm like, it wasn't my idea. They just asked me to do it, and I showed up. I'm sorry. But yeah, like, I've been like, that image has come back to haunt me. I think it's funny. But I'm like, I never thought that would be, like, the most viewed thing I was ever in.
Dude, some of the dumbest things that we do are the things that are going to get the most over. Like, me doing the worst of things, getting, like, just... I don't know, like it getting spat on or something like that it is what brings people, you know, to your attention or whatever. Nobody cares about you being or putting on like a good monologue or anything like that. Like nobody's gonna care how well you could do like Quint's, you know, Indianapolis monologue in Jaws or whatever. Nobody gives a shit about that. They want to see you get slimed or trip and fall on your face. Like that's it, and that's how it works.
Yeah. I brought in great film criticisms and facts and rental reviews, but people always remember me as Aladdin shitting on the top of a toilet.
It'll be on your tombstone, brother.
It probably will be.
Yeah. So how did you meet James? Because if you were only working for him like about 2 years prior to that, I mean he's been doing it since 2007, 2006.
So how it happened was the company that he's partnered with that I work at. Yeah. At the time they needed James and Mike needed an editor for their series James and Mike Monday. Mm-hmm. And it just so happened I had previously worked with another big YouTuber, but that had kind of fizzled out, and I lived close to their office and I was in between jobs. So it's like that guy, like they knew, like the people working there knew who I was. Okay. So they hired me on, and I had met James at like a convention before that, but I didn't really get to know him. It wasn't until like I was working on the channel for like a few weeks or like a month or two, and then I finally met him because I was mostly working with Mike. But yeah, and then you know what usually happens over the years, you kind of get closer to the people.
Yeah, of course.
And then eventually, you know, before COVID, like we ended up being like major people on the channel. We were in a ton of videos. And now it's kind of like restructured where it's mostly just James now. But yeah, that's kind of how I met him. It was pretty simple. I just kind of got hired for the job. It was right place, right time, right experience.
Yeah.
Because that was the thing. It was like, well, he had experience working with another like 3 million sub channel, so let's get him. But yeah, that's how I got involved with that.
Oh man, so when I met you in 2014, so 8 years ago. Yeah. You know, so you were, I mean, how did you know Amber and Ron, and how did you like, I mean, really, I mean, I don't want to know the whole like, well, I went here to college and then I stumbled into here, and the Wizard of Oz really fucking inspired me, you know.
No, it's funny because like this actually. Oh,
I'm here.
Okay.
I forgot about the whole point. I forgot about the whole point of the show, which is it's fucking Uncorked with Kit. But real quick, this is the wine today. It's called Rough Day. Okay.
That's a pretty good one.
Yeah. So
can you get that
really
anywhere?
Get that out of the way.
I love the pun. I would buy that just for the pun.
That's why I did. It was $10. I think you're worth more. But
Oh,
I
thank
just
you.
wanted to
Thank
say
you.
that was a really good picture and it was a cute dog. All right, so
Anyway, yeah, those. God, I haven't talked to them in forever.
yeah,
Yeah, I think I met them. The girl who made the series, the pilot that we were on, I met them at like some kind of networking event. I think I forget where it
Okay.
was. Me and a girl I used to produce stuff with and like lived with briefly. We went to a networking event, and I met them too. And I think they had already known another friend of mine, Crystal, who was like on my show Mummy Cop and whatnot, and she actually worked on Roommates also. Yeah, and I think that's how that happened. You know, we worked on that. I had them in my show Mummy Cop. That's what happened. I put them in my show Mummy Cop, and then
I
they
remember.
started their thing, and that's how we got involved with that. And then, yeah, I haven't talked to them. After that, I got like real busy, and I kind of just lost communication with a lot of
Yeah,
them.
I mean,
Except for
it
Crystal.
happens.
I talked to Crystal on occasion, and once in a blue moon, I'll talk to Rachel.
Yeah, I think I'll see their birthday on Facebook, you know,
Yeah.
and then but like Amber follows me and we follow each other on everything, and I always just end up, you know, we'll have some banter every once in
Yeah.
a while, and if she's in Philly, like I think that, you know, the last time I saw her maybe was like 2 years ago, a year and a
Okay.
half ago. Ron's in California now.
Mhm.
I mean, he made my theme song that I
Oh,
still
that's
use
cool.
today.
Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't know that. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, I love it. And then he's always like, dude, when you come in here, you have a place to stay, and we got to update that fucking song. And I don't know why. I'm just like, yeah, man, definitely. And then like something comes up, and then I
Yeah.
don't know what it is, but you know, but
Well, it's smart to stay around here because Philly is kind of like a big wrestling town.
yeah, it is. It's a good hub, you know, because
Yeah.
it's Jersey. You know, I've been in New York the last 3 weekends, you know, taking an Amtrak each time for a show, and that's been easy. You know, but it's just, dude, you know, but when February comes around, I just want to kill myself. Like, you know, it's just gray and grayer and grayer, and you know. But so, you know, so anyway, to go back, I mean, from like, you know, what started you in I mean, what would you call yourself? Like, what would you title your, you know, I mean, I know you had a lot of different jobs in editing and film editing and everything like that.
Well,
but
right now, my official job title is the
influencer.
I guess I would not really an influencer. I do brand deals and stuff, but I'm not really influencing too much. Like that's not like my main thing. I guess right now I'd just be like a internet personality, like a host of a show.
Yeah.
But my official job title is head of video production here at this company. So I like outside.
Yeah,
that
sounds
it's a little bit more legit. I worked my way up. It took a while. Because and like I've actually gone down to one episode a week because I'm actually managing other shows and like all their stuff, and like it was getting crazy doing 2 main episodes a week and managing all that stuff. So I guess just online personality / video production manager. Hopefully get back to being a filmmaker, which I haven't really done in a very long time, which I'm excited to get. I'm actually gearing up to do a movie. We're really locking down the script right now. We had some good meetings lately. I can't talk about it too much.
Yeah.
But I will be updating all that. I will be giving people updates on my Patreon over there. So yeah, hopefully filmmaker, but right now video production manager and internet personality.
I like it.
Yeah.
When we were talking about like, you know, how Hack the Movie started, and like really how you're talking, you know, 2000 back when you just go to a movie, you guys would record basically your reviews in the car. You know, is that something that like what I always find like interesting is anybody that especially do I watch more YouTube than I watch anything else. You know, you have those friends that watch like every episode of something, and then there are those that, you know, I watch like documentaries on YouTube or film reviews of movies I didn't fucking see.
Yeah.
You know? Like, but I mean, I'd rather watch a review of like the new Ghostbusters, you know, than I would of, you know, actually having to sit down and watch it. So,
which new Ghostbusters are you talking about? The newest one?
No, not the newest one. The 2016.
I hate both, by the way. I think they're both awful for different reasons. But that new one, really made me angry because of how, like, 2016 was a shitty comedy, but like it tried to be funny. The new one forgot that Ghostbusters is a comedy, and I'm like, this isn't Ghostbusters at all.
They can't figure it. It's been too long. It's like it's over. But
did you see what I did for the 2016 Ghostbusters on my channel? I sat out of the review and I replaced everyone with all the girls on the show took over the thing, and I let them review the movie.
That's the smartest thing ever. That's the smartest thing you've ever done ever.
The funny thing is they all hated the movie.
I mean, it just wasn't. It wasn't good just because I don't even think that they have this chemistry between the four of them. They all individually are funny. Yeah. But together they're just the same character that they are everywhere else, and then they just made them the scientist, you know.
The one girl using her Hillary Clinton voice from Saturday Night Live. Mm-hmm. I was like, that voice doesn't fit this character at all. It was a bizarre choice.
I've watched like one review of some kid. He was talking. He was like, "Yeah, you can tell she's the funny one in the group," you know. And like,
they're all but yeah, that new Ghostbusters is so bad. But you're right. Yeah, I've also watched like a bunch of YouTube. Lately, I've been I go through phases where I'll watch like a bunch of YouTube and then maybe watch like a bunch of Netflix. Lately I've been watching a lot of Tubi. That streaming platform, Tubi, it's a free streaming platform. They've got big movies and then they got like some weird obscure shit. And it's such a good balance. It's become my favorite streaming thing.
You watch a lot of you'll watch a lot of like random things. I'm such a creature of habit.
Yeah.
That like, but for your sake, I mean you can't review Jaws, 8 different times, like whereas like that's the only thing that I'll watch or something like that. Like But to go back, did you think that like your life when you're sitting in a car and you're reviewing movies with your friends and you're recording it, that it was going to just come into this, to where you are now, where this is your life?
I couldn't have predicted that. So what started it, it's actually pretty funny. What started is I saw in like 2010, or even like a little before that, like the origin, like the growth of, or the birth of like these online reviewers, like Nostalgia Critic and Angry Video Nerd. And I was a big fan of like Spoonie. He kind of went off the deep end. And even Red Letter was like on the rise around that time. Red Letter Media. And I remember sitting there and be like, hey, you know what? Like, I really love making movies, but I can't do it all the time.
Yeah.
Why can I do what these people are doing and do a show? And I did it really badly, and it took over a decade to finally take off. But yeah, never in a million years that I think I'd be here, because now I went from working on the Angry Video Game Nerd for several years and like co-writing a bunch of episodes and whatnot. And I actually had Nostalgia Critic on my show, and then I was on his show, his review of The Dark Knight Rises, which is the 10-year anniversary.
It's hard. That's even more hard to believe right now.
Because it's the running gag on my show is I was a background extra in that film.
Okay.
But because of that, I pretend that I'm like the most important thing in that movie, and then I'm like, oh well, obviously it's the best Batman movie because I'm in it and I can relate to it. So it's become a running gag that I overpraise this movie just because I'm an uncredited extra in it.
Oh, dude, that's how it works, man. I mean, I was like that in the movie The Wrestler, and then I pumped this movie the fuck up, and I knew I was like, I guarantee this is the best part. I guaranteed that I was like, I am an extra in this because camera guy stops at me, losing my mind. I was still a fan, a wrestling fan, and then I pumped this movie up, and it's still a great fucking movie. Don't get me wrong, but I pumped it up like it was going to be the best thing that ever existed ever, and I wasn't even in it. I was in the special features.
Oh, well, you made it. Like, that's the thing.
Yeah, if you bought the DVD, you know.
The thing is, you can't even see me in the movie because I'm so far away from the camera. I'm just a yellow blur. But speaking of The Wrestler and people who were in it, the Blue Meanie had a short appearance in it, and he was on my show a while back. We did Hulk Hogan's No Holds Barred, that classic.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Blue Meanie was great. Have you ever worked with him or met him?
I did one spot with him in like 2010, and then but he didn't do anything. He just popped out of nowhere. But I know him because I don't know if he owns it, but there's this bar called McClusters in South Philly, and I think he owns part of it, but he's there all the time, and I've there, and then other countless shows that he's been on and I've been on.
Yeah.
And he's such a sweet guy.
Oh God, he was great. Like, because I was a big fan of him as a kid. So having him on the show, me and him like really clicked. We had a really good time. He like texts me randomly sometimes. The one time he drunk texted me something and then he apologized the next day, and I'm like, no, it's fine. I never in a million years did I think the Blue Meanie would drunk text me at midnight.
Oh my God.
This is totally fine.
It's weird. I mean, being in wrestling and to definitely go back or to go into some of the people that you've met, which just blows my mind. You know, like even meeting other ECW guys like Sabu and Sandman, and you know, having little parts with all those ECW guys, and then also like WWE, WAF guys that I watched growing up. Like it was a WrestleMania weekend in New York, and I had a show, and there's fucking Ricky Morton, of the Rock and Roll Express.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just a huge fan of this dude, and I'm like, I don't want just a picture with both of them, but with him especially, I wanted to do a promo. And he cut a promo with me, and this was 2018. And then just like a few months ago, he's in the car with somebody, and they were like, hey, do you know Kid Osborne? You did this promo with him. He's one of my friends, and he didn't remember it. And he showed him. He's like, oh, I remember that, man. And he goes, can you send me that? And he's like, well, I'll tell him to send him. And he's like, here, give him my number. And then I'm texting Ricky Morton on my phone, and I'm just going, dude, this doesn't even make sense. Like, none of this makes sense.
It is weird. It is weird to like meet your heroes and then like hang out with them and stuff.
Yeah, and you're like, and you work with some of them, Sabio Vega. Yeah. Like I got to work with at MLW, and me and this other wrestler, Tom Lawler, are up, up in the backstage telling him, like, hey man, did you bring your Nation of Domination gear? And he's like, oh man, I forgot. He's like, man, rule number 1, dude. Always bring your gear. And then he's just like, I'm sorry, guys. I didn't mean to. And like, I'm watching this guy when I was 6 years old wrestling Steve Austin at Mania. And I'm just like, and then I get to work with him in the ring, and something. And you're like, none of this is real, You know
what wrestler I worked with, not wrestling wise, years back, I did a short film with some people, I think, who were involved with roommates called Saturday Night Thing. I don't know if you remember that. It was about the 2 bar bouncers who are obsessed with the movie Roadhouse, so they're trying to be like Patrick Swayze. But we got New Jack in it.
Oh, God.
He played a small part in it. And, dude, I've always talked about, I miss that guy. I only got to see him like a few times and I chatted with him a few times, but that was like one of the best actors I ever worked with because we didn't write him any dialogue. We were just like, hey, when we say action, just start yelling about something until the girl tells you to leave. And he said something new every single time, and it was hilarious. He nailed it every single time.
He's somebody that I would be absolutely terrified to work with. So I'm very happy I never did. Yeah. But I'm very happy I met him. Like he's funny. Very funny
guy. He was a funny guy. He's a very controversial guy.
He was very sweet to me, which is, I don't know, because in my head, like, I believe that character, and he scared the shit out of me. Like,
I mean, there was maybe a little bit of truth to it, but I remember being like friends with him on Facebook, and he just seemed like he was definitely like a quirky, like just I forget the word. He was definitely like a weirdish dude. Not in a bad way. He was like,
you see a funny side of some people.
Yeah,
it's the same thing with, if you know who Nick Gage is. Like he's one of the most famous deathmatch wrestlers. He actually just about a year ago he wrestled Chris Jericho on AEW.
Okay.
and this is one of the funniest things that happened to him. He like wrestling Jericho on AEW on TNT. They had no drama, and he pulls out a pizza cutter to cut his head.
I remember
and
that.
Then a fucking Pizza Hut commercial comes on right after, not planned, and then AEW loses the sponsorship. And it could not have been. It was not planned. It was just. It just fucking happened, and they do a thing where like you can go to commercial or it's split screens.
Yeah.
So while this motherfucker is cutting this guy's head, there's a Pizza Hut commercial coming on like right after, and I'm just like, I was at a bar watching, just excited to see my friend, but to see him wrestle. But he's just one of those dudes that as much he wants to be like, he's like a badass character. If you get him, you can get him to laugh, and it's make him look like he's sucking a lemon, and he's and then that's when you got like these guys are they're real just like us, But on the other hand, man, like these are just some of the small guys that we get to meet. But you've gotten to work with stars like Macaulay Culkin, for Christ's sake. Now you're like probably friends with him. Now you've worked with him a few times, right?
So we spent like.
You just told me before the show that you guys text at night all the time.
No.
You guys talk about The Good Son,
we actually did talk about The Good Son.
It's a fucking great movie.
So here's what happened. He was a big fan of James. And he had wanted to work. He was like promoting that site that he runs, Bunny Ears, and he was doing like a big campaign for it. So he went out to Wisconsin to film with Red Letter Media, and then they shipped him out to us.
Shipped him out.
Yeah, we spent 3 days with him. We did the Angry Video Game Nerd for Home Alone games. Which was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun filming that. I was one of the camera guys. I'm actually his body double in the reverse shots with James. And by the way, he is a tiny person, and I am not. And I was definitely fatter at the time. Like, I'm heavy now, but I was worse. So, you could only see, like, the tip of the hat and my shoulder. And, like, that's me being Macaulay Culkin's body double. But no, he was actually, at the end of that episode, he makes, like, a Good Son joke. He pretends like they're going to play a Good Son video game that didn't actually exist. And how that happened was, in between takes, we're setting up for a different shot. I looked at the cover of the Super Nintendo game for Home Alone 2, and he looks like evil on it. And I was just like, was this like a Good Son picture that ended up on this? Like, did they mix it up? But no,
it looks like it's the one he's like, I made my family disappear, like.
And then he did James and Mike Monday with them. They played the Page Master game, and then we all reviewed Big Trouble.
Fucking Page Master.
Then we all reviewed Big Trouble in Little China. And I got to sit next to him for that review, and that was a lot of fun. He let me do this gag at the very end of that episode. He let me do a gag where I thought, I just pretend like I thought I'd been talking to Kieran Culkin this entire time. Hey man, thanks for coming out. I love you and Scott Pilgrim. And Igby goes down, and he just goes along. I asked him ahead of time, am I allowed to do this? Are you gonna get offended? He's like, no, that's hilarious. Let's do that.
Oh man, dude, I love that. There's nothing better. There is absolutely nothing better than just asking for forgiveness and not for permission. I mean, when you just do it, oh man, if you don't like it, we won't publish it. Then you put him on that pressure,
Yeah, he is super down to earth. He was real easy to talk to. We had a lot of fun with him.
He seems pretty chill. And anything I've ever, any interviews or, and he does a lot of short films and stuff just because he thinks that they're fun. I guess, but that's. I remember he did. He got picked up by some taxi driver or something like that.
Oh yeah,
where he was like, dude, my mom just fucking left me at home 2 years in a row. Dude,
yeah.
2 years in a row. What do you think? I like Christmas now?
He's a big wrestling fan too.
Yeah.
He actually he got into a beef with Goldberg when Goldberg beat the Fiend. He tweeted about it, and Goldberg called him a dork or something. So the episode of Rental Reviews after that, we had a Goldberg PlayStation 1 memory card. And like, I open up the video where I'm like, hey, Kieran, what's that? He's like, oh, that's Universal Champion Bill Goldberg. And I throw it off the set. As a way to be like, I stand with Macaulay Culkin against Goldberg.
Oh, God. That's so funny. Yeah, I mean, not even just him. I mean, you had Joe Bob Briggs. Like,
Yes.
I loved...
Yeah.
I love that, and I love that he's back. Like, I mean, I don't know what this, if there was a hiatus, but I mean, there's this break in between him from like the mid '90s to like,
well, hosting the show. Yeah, he was still doing stuff in between all of that.
yeah,
But yes, he used to do Monster Vision. He had a different show before Monster Vision, and then a few years ago, we actually helped with the launch of it because James interviewed him, and we shot that interview with him. For his show on Shudder, The Last Drive-In.
Yep.
And he actually came back a few months ago to record with James again because, the new season was coming out. There were new things happening. He was in town for like a show. And I had to pick him up. Like, I had already met him.
Yeah.
So last time, but I was just the camera guy and whatnot. And it was actually funny because it was like exactly like 4 years later. So I like was driving with him in the car and we were having like a really good time. And I told him like, hey, I have a show too. And I got a little worried because he was there for a weekend. And on Friday night, he records with James. So I was like, all right, they're running late. I got to drive him home. I'm probably not going to get a chance to film with him, but that's fine. And then he actually said, hey, Sunday, I don't have to leave till late. I'll be on your show. And I was just like, okay. Okay, so I had to come up with like a topic and everything. I'm like, yeah, we should totally do that. So that worked out really well. We talked about Howling 7, which is pretty funny. And we talked about the Howling series in general. So that was like a drink because he actually his show introduced me to the Howling movies.
Yeah.
Especially Howling 3, which is my favorite werewolf movie of all time. So it was funny, and he's making fun of me for being way too into these movies. And I'm like, well, it's your fault. You got me into it.
Yeah.
But no, he was great to hang out with. It was just like kind of a dream come true to talk about these movies with him. And then before that, we had Lloyd Kaufman on the show from Troma, the guy who made Toxic Avenger and stuff.
Yeah.
And I've known Lloyd for
that guy is so funny.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
I
love that dude, especially like watching him talk about horror movies in general, not just his, but I mean, oh man.
Yeah, Lloyd is always a fun time. I've been friends with him for years. He came in again to record with James and to talk about some other stuff. And again, I was just like, hey, Lloyd, while you're here. And he was like, yeah, 100%. I'll be on your show. And that's how we got him for that. But yeah, I've been lucky with some of the bigger guests we've gotten this year, and I hope to get bigger ones as the show goes on. We were in talks for a while to get Diamond Dallas Page on, and for some reason it just kept like schedules weren't syncing up, and I lost communication with them.
With what's weird with Didi, like I met him once, and not for any business purpose, just like if you go to enough of these, either if it's like icons or if he's doing a seminar or something like that. But that guy seems like one of the most busiest guys I've ever met in my life.
That's what I was getting out of it. Yeah. After a while,
there's no every day. I would hate him. Like as a person, I know that we wouldn't match. Like, dude, I'm like the worst person to travel with in terms of like, if we have to get up, and of course I want to go out the night before. Yeah, all right, kid, we can go out. Like we just have to. We have to be on the road by like 9. Like, dude, no fucking problem, man. It's no big deal at all. And like I had a friend take me out, he brought me up a continental breakfast from the hotel that he did all the work to get.
Yeah.
And for this little road, these road gigs that he put together for me.
Yeah.
Got me booked on them. Got me a license to wrestle in Virginia, did all the work, and then all I wanted, like in the morning when he's like, dude, and I said I'll drive my car. I had like a Honda Civic, and it was like the the best car to drive at the time.
Yeah.
And he's just like, hey, kid, like, we kind of got to go, man. It's like 9:30 now. And I brought you up this breakfast. I got your license to wrestle in Virginia, which is where we're going next.
Yeah.
And then all I said is like, dude, don't fucking talk to me right now. And then I'm like super hungover. And then I'm just like, dude, I hope this building burns down so I never have to wake up, and things like that. And then, so I just know that DDP is that guy that would be just like, every day's great, the sky's blue, everything's beautiful, and I just go, dude, DDP, I really wish that your back broke, you never fucking wrestled. I really do. I really fucking do. And then you get some coffee in me, and then I just go, dude, I didn't mean that.
Yeah, well, I didn't mean any of that. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, dude.
I am not a morning person, so no. I feel that. I feel that a lot. I can definitely, if he had the time, he would definitely be on, especially he sees like what you do. And so when with Hack the Movies, how many episodes are you at now? Oh God, like this. So like when we did the podcast incarnation of this, let me see here. So there's like two different shows that rotate. It's Talking About Tapes and the Hack the Movie show, and I kind of just group them together. As of right now, we're at 165 episodes.
That's awesome. And when did you start?
It started. Let me see here. So the first Talking About Tapes was July 29th, 2020.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, and again, that was like, and I had already been doing reviews before that.
Right. I know that. I just mean like from the
that was
to it.
Yeah, it was funny if you watch that episode. I'm talking about how like there's no name for this. It's just whatever, and it just turned into a show after that. And people kept coming back week after week, and then December or January, I think, is when we really. What was the one? Let me see the one that like really got us going. It was Ghostbusters 2 is awful. That one really got us going. And then Alien vs. Predator helped us grow even more, and it's just doing well since then.
I feel like I know that we could, like, in my head, like, from watching your show, and I feel like I could just keep bringing up movies, and then we would talk about it.
Probably.
And I don't want, and as much as like I'm like fighting myself to fucking do that, like I just go. But I wanted to bring up some of what your favorite movies are, why, and I feel like the reason why I'm asking is because I think these are the reasons why what brought you into what you do now. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing with how the fuck I get into wrestling, and why I'm not just, that average guy just goes to 9 to 5, scooping shit out of a gutter, every Sunday, resenting everybody and being in a loveless marriage, like, like, which is like what I'm absolutely afraid of, and something along the way of me going from like grade school, to where I am now, just sparked wrestling, and then just went, hey, why don't you just jump in a car, be uncomfortable for 6 hours, wrestle for 10 minutes, get paid like shit, and then for some weird reason love it.
Yeah. Dude, I love wrestling. I've only ever professionally wrestled like once. But I was a real wrestler in high school. I'm sorry, real wrestler, like the traditional
collegiate or whatever.
Yeah. Actually, in 2020, like before COVID and everything, I was looking into like wrestling schools, because I was like, fuck it, because I got back into wrestling in like 2019. I always loved wrestling, I just stopped following it.
Yeah, it happens. I did it in high school. I just break. There's like a break, and then something just keeps bringing you the fuck back.
It's just easier to keep up with it. Like, I haven't watched week to week in a long time, and I know everything that's happening. It's just way easier to keep up to date on everything.
I can't tell you the last time I watched a Raw, live.
I don't have cable, but I used to watch them on Hulu and stuff, but now I can just watch like the highlights, and if it's like a really good match, I'll look it up.
You get it in real time on Twitter.
Pretty much, yeah, which I think works to like their a detriment to them, but I guess they know what they're doing.
Oh yeah.
whoever the CEO of WWE happens to be this week, they know what they're doing.
Exactly. But don't worry, Vince will come out every week, every single week, and just say, "Hey, welcome to Raw."
But anyway, you wanted to ask like my favorites.
Yeah, some of your favorites that I think were, what really sparked, this interest in what you do now.
Well, my favorite, I don't really like. It's weird. I can't pick just like a favorite movie. I have to break it into
No.
categories.
You can have as many as you
want. So I guess the movie that made me and I remember this as a kid, the movie that made me actually question how movies were made was Alien, the first Alien. A friend of mine's dad showed me that, and that was the first time where he clicked in my brain. I'm like, I want to know how they did this. I guess I don't know. I watched so many movies growing up. I was just I was a real quiet kid, and I was apparently I was the opposite of my sister. I was the easiest baby to watch because this is just put him in front of the TV or give him a toy car and he'll entertain himself for hours. So I was watching movies at a very young age, and I had a grandfather who didn't give a shit what was on. He just we're watching this horror movie. He's like, I want to watch this really violent sci-fi movie, and I'm watching you kids, and I'm gonna watch it anyway, so have fun. So yeah, Jurassic Park was a big one that caused my love for films when I was a kid because I saw that in theaters. God, Halloween really got me to love horror. I saw that, my mom introduced me to that when I was a kid. There's so many movies that kind of influence things that I love. Silence of the Lambs is probably one of my favorite thrillers of all time.
Okay.
I can just go on and on. And I've talked about a lot of these on the show.
I know. Yeah. I always, there's part of me, man, that when I think of when I say my favorite movies is Jaws. Yeah. Right. I brought it up, I think twice already.
Yeah.
And
we reviewed that last year. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's, I think, that was one of the things that at least it wasn't the movie when I watched it as a kid that made it click. It was just later on, and thanks to YouTube again, is being able to watch somebody, dissect the film and explain, why it worked. It worked because the fucking shark didn't work. Yeah, and that's why. And I just go, the pressure that Spielberg would be on, to get this complete and buying time, and then it ultimately being a success for all of its failures in the filming process is what is just so mind-blowing to me that I just go, and this is the outside source, not somebody who's editing this, but I have just this general interest in it that I just go, that's why I'm curious now, what the thing is that sparked, and with Alien. It's dude, you get to a certain age. You get to a certain age and you watch it, and then you go, well, I know that that's not real, but that fucking looks pretty goddamn real, man.
Yes. Yes. Alien was the one that really was a game changer for me, because I'd even seen Star Wars and stuff at that point, but it was really Alien where I slowed down, because that is that's kind of a slow moving movie, and you really take in the environments. And I just remember being how they make this spaceship, how they do that. Right. I really want to know how they did it. And, eventually years later, they come out with these DVDs that have, that's one thing Fox was really, 20th Century Studios now. Their Alien series, say we will about the last few movies they put out, they're all garbage. But they really have taken care of those 4 initial films, and they give you tons of special features. And I'm actually friends with the guy who actually edited all those behind the scenes footage stuff. That's now. Cool. He edited the assembly cut of Alien 3 a while back. We hyped up this Alien 3 review for over a year on my channel, and we reviewed both versions of the movie because there's 2 very different versions of it. But yeah, those really got me really into the whole filmmaking part. And of course, 90s, 2000s, it was the explosion of DVD with special features. So I learned more about filmmaking from that, because you could actually get a movie and learn all about how it got made.
Yeah, it when VHS and when DVDs came out, it's the special features is what drove people to buy a fucking DVD player, because you want to. People have that general interest on how things are made,
Dude,
for
when
the
I
most
found
part.
out about commentary tracks, I was like, I need every DVD. I need to know what the director was thinking in this moment.
Dude, it's literally like the beginning stages of a fucking podcast.
Really?
Is that commentary during a movie? Because I feel like that's how it starts, and then all of a sudden now there's, oh yeah, this is a review series, which we just kind of talk about the movie, you know, and then you're just like, yeah, let me listen to this guy that I don't even know what the fuck he looks like, and I want to hear what he thinks, you know, and then that's how I feel like podcasting started. But I think it all kind of started from special features and DVD the commentary over a movie.
Yeah, I actually on my Patreon I do commentary tracks now, and they're like some of my favorite things to do because it's just audio. I'm not really like playing it up for the camera.
Yeah,
like
it's
I
not
usually
difficult
do.
to
There's
edit
less
that either.
editing. I can actually just like sit and just like chill. And we let the movie play. We talk about all the facts we have with it. And I'm actually been trying to make an effort for like every movie I review comes with a commentary track, or not every week, but most weeks.
Yeah.
Recently we did The Mummy Returns. I'm slowly introducing my friend Casey to all the Predator movies. She was in my Predator review, but now we've done commentaries for Predator 2, Alien vs. Predator. We're about to put out an AVP2 one. And this is all in preparation for the movie Prey coming out, which is the Predator prequel. But yeah, because I listened to those DVD special features and commentary tracks, I was just like, I kind of want to do that too. I love doing commentary tracks.
Yeah. I've been attempting to do that with wrestling. Like if you have like a WrestleMania, because I saw.
Actually, we should do one together. I've only ever done one wrestling commentary track, and I want to do more. I just never find people to do them with.
But I would absolutely. It really. I mean, I heard Bruce Pritchard and Conway. They have this podcast.
Yeah.
And when they talk about, because Bruce Pritchard was a producer and for WWF, WWE now.
Yeah.
He's the head of talent relations, I think, right now. But he would do these watch-alongs, you know, where it's like, all right, we're going to be starting. We're using the network right now, so it's going to start in 3, 2, 1, and then you would just start it and be like the Royal Rumble '89, and you're like, dude, everybody is the most roided up fucking human being you've ever seen on the planet. Like they are injecting cement into themselves, and I'm just like, and like, you know, you're listening to his take on it. Like how his involvement in it and things like that. Maybe not that one particularly, but
yeah.
And I'm like, I could do this as like a wrestler listening, and then I'm just like, why am I not doing it? You know,
dude, we should do a few, because I've only ever done Halloween Havoc 1998. That classic.
That's the fucking best one.
That's the best one for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
I will say, like, when we did it, actually, that's why I want to do more, because I did it with my friend John from John Breaks Bad News. And we actually were like, wow, Disco Inferno had 2 matches that night, and they were both bangers. And the main event, which famously got cut off when it aired live, between Goldberg and DDP is solid. And I know Goldberg's pretty much known for his squash matches, but like that was one of the times where he like broke out of his.
He stepped it up, and DDP's a fucking ringleader.
And you know, if only the Ultimate Warrior versus Hulk Hogan didn't go on for 40 minutes, people would have been able to see it more.
Yeah, and then everything went south. It was the worst. That was the worst second match ever.
Yes.
But there's a reason why you wouldn't have that. Like what? It was 80 or 90, 1990, and then now it's 98. It's like, dude, 8 years ago, you guys pulled it off somehow. 8 years later, you're definitely not pulling it off.
Actually, we'll talk after this, but we should have you in soon to do SummerSlam 2005 with the custody for Dominic match and the Hulk Hogan versus Shawn Michaels.
Hogan and Shawn. Oh my God, it's one of the best. Absolutely, that sounds perfect.
That's a good one.
Oh yeah. Oh man. So, you know, I want to ask you. You know, I asked you like, you know, how did you ever think that this was going to get to where it is now? Like your career, and you know, even just the fandom of just Hack the Movies of your YouTube. But my what I want to sort of end with is, what's your end goal? Like, what's your real goal? At getting in this world of production, being a creator.
Well, right now it's honestly, well, one, it's to make more money on YouTube and whatnot. But two, honestly, at this point right now, because I'm happy with where I am right now. It could be a little bit better, but it's better than it ever has been. I really want to make this movie that I'm working on. That is like my next goal. Like, I want to make this movie. I want to make movies. That was always the end goal.
Yeah.
I had to make compromise. You have to make compromises in life. And like, I know there's some people that hold on to one dream. It's like, well, you have to have a backup plan. But like, now I'm in a position where I'm like, I can make this movie. So that is like my main goal right now. Because I miss directing. I miss writing and directing. I did like Mummy Cop. Like I said, a couple short films. I really want to get back to that because that's where I felt like the most comfortable. And it's like, it's weird. It's like something that like really makes me feel good, but because of how complicated it is, it's not something you could do all the time.
It definitely. I mean, I know that it's. I see how stressful it can be.
Yes.
You know, if it takes an actor who has a 30-second, line, and 30 seconds, and then I'm there for 4 hours. I can only imagine, and this is just how I think, I'm sure most don't, is just, wow, I can only imagine how the fuck it feels to be the ones that are making it.
Yeah.
So I feel for you when it comes to that. Mm-hmm. I definitely, is there anything that you can tell us about the movie itself?
The movie itself, well, I'll tell you what it's not.
Okay. Yeah, thanks.
Because like some people were like, oh, Hack the Movies is making a movie. Oh, he's gonna make the Hack the Movies movie. I'm like, no. The movie is not about Hack the Movies. It is not about me. I'm not in the movie.
It's basically, it's gonna be like, wait, please, or be kind, rewind, or something like.
No. I will say I am trying to make it like a horror movie with a like slight comedic twist. But yeah, people assume, because I worked with the AVGN, he did like the AVGN movie, and there's been other YouTubers that like, I'm gonna make a movie. Like, I know the channel, the Game Chasers, and they just did the Game Chasers movie, and I'm like, no. Those are fine. I'm fine with that. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, you're doing something separate that's on your own.
I have no idea how I would go about making a Hack the Movies the movie. I don't know how I would ever do that. You know how I would have to make fake VHS tapes for that entire set, because there's no way I'm going to be able to license every single VHS tape.
No. You just get newspaper clippings, and then you just change letters of certain of each one,
So my copy of The Thing, I just put an O, and it's like, oh no, that's the thong.
But you make it spell out something so that everybody has to watch the whole thing all the way through on whatever platform you get to put it on, and then they just watch it and they just fucking add it up.
But yeah, so that's what I want to do now, and it means a lot to me because I actually was working on 2 movies that fell through for various reasons that I don't want to get into. But I am actually going to be in a documentary. At some point. It's about VHS stores, like rental stores from like the 90s to 90s. And I filmed my segment for that. They're not ready to, I'm already spoiling it, but no, they're going to do like a proper campaign and push it soon. So you'll probably see me posting about that at some point. So yeah, just doing all this like film stuff. And I've even done a couple more cinematic type things in reviews lately. And it's really like, I'm really feeling, I'm like, I need to do more. I need to do this movie. I need to do more. So that's the goal for now. It's grow Hack the Movies even more than it is, and make this goddamn movie.
Yeah, well, dude, I'm excited to hear about it, and also this documentary.
Yeah.
I have to show you. When you said something sparked me. You have to see during the pandemic when I wasn't wrestling. And I started doing this, like this idea of just like, oh, maybe I could do a podcast too, you know. And,
a lot of people have that idea.
I came to learn. I'm happy that like mine, you know, it's simple, and then you know I keep things short, and like I've been on enough podcasts where I get interviewed enough fucking times where I'm talking to somebody and they didn't have any line of questioning. They didn't have
Yeah.
anything. It was basically, it was like, what was that on SNL? Like, hey, you remember when
Chris Farley?
Yeah.
Oh, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Remember when
You
you
go,
were
yeah.
in the movie?
Yeah, that was awesome. And then next thing you know, I'm still talking to them 2 hours later. And I'm just like, dude, nobody is listening to this.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if you don't get them in the beginning, which even I fail at that too, but I keep it like short enough that, you know, at least they don't even explain what we talked about because we didn't talk about shit. Like, you know,
I had that issue recently. Like earlier in the year, my episodes were just getting way too long, and I've like cut back on that a lot now. Like, all right, now, especially now that I'm doing more commentary tracks, I'm able to like space out my thoughts, whereas before I was trying to get like all my information in the episode. So that's helped out. But yeah, I 2 hours is a lot. Some people like that, and I have friends who do those shows, and I listen to them. But you're right, not everyone can pull off that.
Not and I just don't feel like I'm like, at least I'm not famous enough, you know, that anybody wants to listen to me for 2 hours.
I don't know
whether
what you're very
it's in their car on the way to work or they're in their cubicle at work. You know, at some point, somebody's going to get pretty tired of me saying you know, or, you
are a very famous wrestler, Kid Osborne. Okay. You're one of my top 2 favorite wrestlers. All right. My other one is Joseph Connors, because he was a fan of my show and he bought a shirt of mine. He was never able to wear it on NXT UK, but you know, I thought if he was allowed to, I think he would have. So both of you are my favorite wrestlers of all time, and the Blue Meanie. So that's like the trifecta of wrestlers. It's Blue Meanie, Kid Osborne,
whatever the shirt is. If we trade shirts and you wear it on one of your shows, I'll wear yours on my entrance. You know, but dude,
Wait, real quick. Speaking of wrestling and Hack the Movies, I don't know if you saw a while back. So the redhead who's on my show, Crystal.
Yeah.
A while back at the Royal Rumble, and I hate her for this so much. The men's main event starts. It's Shinsuke Nakamura and I forget who the other one was. It AJ Styles. They're both in the ring. And it, like, close to the front row, a guy brings up a sign that says, "Marry me, Crystal Quinn." And suddenly my Twitter blew up. And I'm like, and I was watching it live and I, like, missed it because he didn't hold the sign up the whole time. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, wait, what? What? And then I texted her. I'm like, hey, I think you got a shout out at the Royal Rumble. And she was, like, working, so she wasn't able to watch. She's like, no fucking way. And it turns out it was, like, a really big fan of ours who got to like the 5th or 6th row camera view, and during the main event he pulled up a sign for her. But since then I've been trying to get people to like bring a picture of me in. One guy's like, hey, I wore your shirt at Raw, here's a picture of it, and he's so far away.
Yeah, you're like, oh yeah, dude,
there's
I
another one
bet
that made a poster of me.
Upset.
Yeah, there's a one that made a poster of me, and it was just too far from the camera. I'm like, I appreciate you guys trying, but we have to beat Crystal. I cannot stand for this.
Dude, it's funny. One of my good friends, his name is Jimmy Lloyd. Yeah. He was at Mania, and then later on, like, he had to do a show that we were both on, and he's wearing a GCW T-shirt. Yeah. No big deal. Well, it's apparently a big deal at WWE when they're advertising at Mania, and so they asked him to take the shirt off, and then they gave him the Hurt Business, which is Bobby Lashley, and
I would have loved the Hurt Business shirt. I'm not gonna lie.
So it went from GCW, and then next thing is him wearing a Hurt Business shirt, and then later that night he comes back. We're in Tampa.
Yeah,
I'm doing commentary for the show, the whole show, which was like I realized like, oh wow, when I'm done doing this shit. Like this wrestling shit, I'm 100% doing commentary. It doesn't hurt at all. And he wrestled in that shirt, and then later on, like, I'm like, Jimmy, I can't believe you fucking wore this. He's like, yeah, Triple H made me wear it.
I want to commentate on a match, and I want to do. Oh, what was that video? It was a famous, like, wrestling event, I think, and the guy was, like, clearly drunk or something, and he just kept asking how much the wrestlers weighed. Did you ever see that video? Where he's like, how much does that guy weigh? How much do you think that guy weighs? He just and that's what I want to do. I want to go to one of these shows and I'm like, oh man, there's Kid Osborne. I wonder how much he weighs. Just keep bringing it up.
That's how we'll spark it, you know. Oh man, and I have to. You have to remind me. I have to send you. I did a cinematic match during in 2020 that I went so well. It was right after the Undertaker AJ one, and yeah, I have to. You have to see it. These guys did it. We filmed it, and I have to tell you, when you don't have adrenaline, it sucks. Everything fucking sucks, man. But oh man, I didn't realize how much acting hurt, but but I got to send that to you. But Tony,
Definitely.
Thank you so much for being on my show, man. Everybody,
problem.
it's Hack the Movies on YouTube.
Or wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah, and wherever you get your podcast, which this is going to be on Spotify, and and then we'll have the video version on YouTube, and then I'll have all the links and everything below.
Awesome.
So, Tony, thank you, man. I appreciate it, and I'll be talking to you soon.
No problem.
All right.